Multi-step story problems with multiplication and division. Your learning target today is I can solve multi-step story problems with multiplication and division. And you'll know you're successful today when you can solve story problems by writing out all of the steps for step 1 and step 2. Alright, so today we're going to be working with multi-step story problems. And this is like when we did our adding and subtracting story problems a while back, I have not one step, but 2 steps to find the problem, or to find the answer. So I'm going to read this problem, and let's see what we need to do for step 1 and step 2. Sharon brought 5 bottles of juice to this class picnic. Each bottle holds 6 cups of juice. She gives 3 cups of juice to each person in her group. How many students are in her group? So, for this first part, I am only going to focus on this first section of the story problem, okay? Sharon brought 5 bottles of juice. Each bottle holds 6 cups of juice, okay? That's going to be step 1. It looks like we have to find the total. So when I have to find the total, what do we need to do? We need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply 5 times 6 because that is going to tell me how many cups of juice that there are total. And what is 5 times 6? Well, if I count by 5s, I can figure that out, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I stop at the 6th number, right? Because I counted by 5 and I stop at the 6th number is 30. Okay, so 5 times 6 is 30. That's what we do for step 1. Let's look at the next part of the problem. So remember, we looked at that first section. I'm just going to cross this part off now because now we're going to look at that last part. She gives 3 cups of juice to each person in her group. Okay, well, we know that there's 30 cups of juice right now total. And now for step 2, we know that she's going to give away 3 cups of juice to each person. How many students are in her group? So this time, it looks like we have to find, So for this one, it looks like they already gave us the total because we already know it, right? It's 30. So I already know the total, which means I need to divide this time. So for step 1, we multiplied. For step 2, we divide. We have 30, and we need to divide that among the other number that we have. She gives 3 cups of juice to each person. So 30 divided by 3. What will that give us? 30 divided by 3. Oh, I know that that's 10. So I have 10 students, and that is our answer. How many students are in our group? 10. So our final answer is 10, but we needed to do those 2 steps in order to get to that 10. Okay, let's try another one. John's mom gave him 15 cookies, which he shared with 2 friends. If he did this every day for 5 days, how many cookies will they each have eaten by the end of the 5 days? So, just like last time, we know that we have a first part of our problem and we have a second part of our problem because we'll have a step 1 and a step 2. So this looks like it's step 1 right here, that first sentence. John's mom gave him 15 cookies, which he shared with 2 friends. Ooh, that keyword shared tells me I'm going to divide because this is my total, how many cookies I have, 15. and I have to share that or divide it among 2 friends. So 15 and 2. Oh, I know that actually if I think about this problem, if I think about this, you can't divide 15 and 2. Let's reread the problem one more time. John's mom gave him 15 cookies, which he shared with 2 friends. He's not just going to give those cookies to his friends, he's also going to share that among himself. So John and his 2 friends, how many people would that be? 3. Ooh, I'm glad I caught that. Sometimes if you think, that doesn't make sense, think about when he shares that with himself and 2 people. That's 3. So 15 divided by 3. And if I think about that, 15, and if I did some repeated subtraction, 15 minus 3 is 12, and then 12 minus 3 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3, and 3 minus 3 is 0. How many times did I subtract 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is our answer for part 1. Let's look at the next part. If he did this every day for 5 days, how many cookies will they each have eaten by the end of 5 days? So for step 2, it looks like this time we need to find the total. Okay, I see 2 smaller numbers and we need to find the total. 15 was our total for step 1 and we found a small number. So for this next one, we need a big number as our total, which means are we going to multiply or are we going to divide? If our big numbers last, we're going to multiply. So let's use that 5 that we had, because that's how many cookies that he ate with his friends, times if he did this every day for 5 days. So 5 times 5. What would be 5 times 5? If I did an array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a 5 by 5 array, and then I would just have to fill in the rest. And I see rows of 5, so I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 is our total. That's how many cookies that they'll have eaten at the end of the 5 days, is 25 cookies. So see how I'm doing step 1, separate, and then step 2, separate. It really helps to maybe cut your problem or your story problem in half. So this is the first sentence. We figured that out with step 1. And then the second part of the problem, which was the second sentence in this case, was number 2. That's how I like to do to break that problem down, and it makes it a lot easier. I had to do step 1 in order to do step 2, because that 5 from step 1 as our answer was one of the 5s in step 2. So you had to do step 1 correctly in order to do step 2 correctly. All right, this is going to be the last problem for today. So after I'm done reading this problem, I want you to try this and then pause the video. So Michaela bought 4 flowers every day for 6 days. She divided them into 3 bunches for her friends. How many flowers were in each bunch? So before you pause this, I want you to just think about what will you do for step 1 and what will you do for step 2. Remember what I said for the last problem, maybe breaking it down into sentences. So the first sentence might be step 1. And then the second sentence might be step 2. So maybe try that and then check your answer with mine to see if you did that correctly. Okay, I'm going to try this problem. So, as I said, let's look at the first sentence. Okay, Michaela bought 4 flowers every day for 6 days. So 4 flowers every day for 6 days. I know that we probably need to find out how many flowers she bought total. So that means I'm going to multiply because I need to find the total. 4 times 6, that is 24. And then let's look at step 2. She divided them into 3 bunches for her friends. Okay, so this was our total number of flowers, right? 24. We know that we always, when we divide, have the total be at the front. And do you want to know why I knew we were going to divide? Because if you read the second sentence, it even says she divided them into 3 bunches. So that means 24 will be divided by 3. Those are the bunches that they're talking about. And then 24 divided by 3. That might be a tricky one if you haven't seen that one on Reflex Math yet. So 24 was our total. So, and I know I have 3. So if I wanted to do equal groups, I could do 3 groups, right? And then I'm going to divide 24. So I'm going to divide 24. So I'm going to do some equal sharing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh, that's when I stop. How many dots do I have in each group? Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 is our answer. 24 divided by 3 is 8. That's how many flowers were in the bunch. And that's what you should have gotten. So remember, your learning target today is I can solve multi-step story problems with multiplication and division. And you'll know you're successful when you can solve story problems by writing out all of the steps for step 1 and step 2.